I think there is a huge digital push, and there's a lot of people that are very keen to resist central bank digital currencies. We want to keep cash. We want to keep transactions private sometimes. We don't want to only trust institutions, only third parties, only people that can cut off your access to your money if they don't like you or your politics. What people sometimes forget a little bit is that cash is another central bank product. It's not a central bank digital currency, it's the central bank physical currency. It's like you're boycotting their new product with their old product. They can roll it out as slow as they want, you're still using their product. People that are using Goldbacks, that are spending them in their communities, that are carrying them in their wallets, it's a real way to declare independence from that system. You're not even using dollars at all. So far, it's done very well, and the value has only gone up and up and up. There's an increasingly growing group of people that take these, and every person you give a Goldback to, whether you're sticking it in their tip jar or doing a barter with a small business owner, you're introducing sound money to somebody new, and you're spreading that awareness into your own community.
And we are live. Welcome, Jeremy. Today, everyone, we have a very special guest, the CEO of Goldbacks. A lot of you would have seen them in my videos recently. I'm a very proud ambassador of their product. Me being in Australia, I can't spend them, of course, but I do use them as a store of value, which I harp on about all too much. Big proponent of their product. Very excited to chat with Jeremy today. We're going to go through all things kind of macroeconomic and dive in a little bit more about the genesis story of the company and also the key unique selling points of their product within the ever-changing kind of commodity-backed market. So welcome, Jeremy. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me here. You mentioned something interesting in your intro. You said you couldn't spend a Goldback in Australia?
No. I mean, there's no places where I can spend that I'm aware of.
Okay. So most of the Goldbacks that I spend so we advertise businesses that accept Goldbacks all the time. It's kind of like a featured business service. We've got thousands of businesses that do that. I'd say that maybe 19 out of 20 Goldbacks that I've spent have been off of that list. Did you guys have like garage sales in Australia?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I haven't been to one since I was probably a kid, though.
Okay. Yeah, about like farmers markets or Saturday markets.
Yeah, there's plenty of them where I live. I live rurally. So you're saying people there, merchants can accept them if they want, just as a...
You whip out some gold out of your wallet and you offer it as a trade, you're going to have a 50-50 shot.
How good's that? Well, that's good to know. I mean, for the listeners, that's really important. So it's kind of almost like kind of a backdoor, just traditional bartering tactic if you're not going to go through a proper commercial.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
people barter all the time. I mean, you imagine someone approaches you and says, "Hey, could I buy some meat from you with 24 karat gold?" I mean, they might say no, but most people, if you can show the value, I mean, they're all over it.
Absolutely.
I mean, a Goldback, it's very different looking. They're very attractive, and I think part of the reason why we use gold in jewelry and why we've been using it in money for thousands of years. I mean, this thing is just beautiful. So you offer. I mean, like you can kind of see it with the video here, but you offer somebody something like this, and maybe that's $6 or $7, depending on what currency you're using. It's not a very big risk for a trade.
Yeah. So you'd obviously, in a typical transaction like that, you'd just go, here's the conversion rate, pull up your Goldback app and go, bang, this is what it's worth.
You could show them right in the calculator. You could show them right on the website of anyone that sells them.
I think you've given me my my next in the field content idea, Jeremy. It's because in Australia, people I get that question a lot. They're like, "Oh, we love it. They look so cool. I want to buy them for a store of value predominantly," which is also really important. I mean,
sure,
I'm not going to spend them all the time, but it's great to know that the utility aspect isn't just isolated to to the states and the places that you've cleared with legislators and everything. So that's awesome. Really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, the businesses that we feature, it's almost more like a proof of concept. Like, hey, look, there's obviously places, there's establishments chains, all different types of businesses that'll take these all the time. But the appeal is at an individual level, you know? I mean, really what you're seeing is individual business owners raising their hands and saying, yes, I would take gold as payment. Why wouldn't I take gold as payment? You know, I mean, what are their other options? I mean, you could do credit cards and, you know, pay fees. You could do, you know, the local currency, which is inflationary in nature. It hurts you if you save. People that take payment in Goldbacks, they're doing better, because if you take it and save it, the value only goes up, or you can trade it again. And at that point, you're circulating money in your local community. You're keeping the money local, you're shopping local. It changes the spending habits a little bit when you carry the Goldbacks around.
Absolutely. And I think this is maybe a good segue. We'll go into the genesis of Goldbacks and the ideation behind it. If you could tell us a little bit about that, I think the audience would love to hear your personal journey with it all.
Yeah, sure. So is your audience mostly in Australia?
No, it's mostly US. Mostly,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we had a guy run for president forever ago. It was back in 2011. His name was Ron Paul, and he talked a lot about, you know, gold being used as money and how we should use gold, and gold has a stable value. And, you know, ever since we've been off the gold standard, you know, the prices on everything has just gone up, and, you know, our standard of living has gone down. It's like you look at, you know, even in like 1990, you know, if you had $100,000 a year job, that just bought a lot more than one of those does today, right? You could take your family on vacation and go to Europe and buy a big house and have one income. And, you know, generating that kind of income for an individual is just isn't realistic anymore. Um, you know, the $100,000 job is still kind of a sought after bar, though. You know, we're measuring everything in these inflationary dollars. Um, so I became a huge fan of Ron Paul. I loved what he said. I really liked his sound money bit. I got into trading with silver and buying precious metals. Um, I followed down that path for a while, and I found myself doing a cryptocurrency where what we did is we split an ounce of gold into 1,000 pieces, so a thousandth of an ounce. And my thought was, if we could digitally split gold down, that people would use it as money. And what I found is that over and over again, these trade shows I'd go to, people would say, you know, Jeremy, it's not that I don't trust you. I don't trust the government. If your crypto is a success, they're going to roll in through your wall with a tank, and they're going to take the gold and all the tokens. We'll be backed by nothing. You know, we believe that if you don't hold the gold, you don't really own it. And around that time, I came across a manufacturing company that, this isn't a Goldback. They made, you know, novelty products like this.
Mm.
And I thought they were really neat. I didn't piece it together right away, but, you know, within maybe 6 months to a year, I got this epiphany. It came into me in this dream that people were transacting and using these kind of golden bills as money. And that got me really excited. And, you know, I've been chasing it ever since.
Yeah, amazing. Makes sense. So that's quite interesting. The tokenized gold play, you still steered back to the physical aspect. I mean, I hear that a lot in my circles as well. I mean, if you don't own it, if it's not in your hands, you don't. It's not yours. Do you reckon you could maybe expand a bit upon the unique security features of the product? And I get this question a fair bit from my followers: why it's actually slightly more expensive than spot price for gold.
Okay. Well, you imagine spot price, that's based off getting a full ounce of gold, right? Um, if you take an ounce of gold and you split it into 1,000 pieces, and then you serialize each one and add security features and, um, you know, make them in a usable format, that costs a lot of money. Um, you know, if you split an ounce of gold into 10 pieces, a 10th ounce gold coin, I mean, you might be paying an extra 30, 40, $50 a unit. And we've gotten the price down to, you know, less than $2 a unit for breaking it down. So here's a one Goldback. You can see that on the back, you have a negative image of the front. You can actually read the serial number through the Goldback. So every Goldback that is produced is unique. It's got 8 different anti-counterfeiting features, and we're rolling out new ones every year. If I had a black light, I'd show you that the back has UV ink on it that you can only see with the black light. So it'll reveal patterns and designs. We have new security features coming out just about every year for Goldback. So that's why it costs more, but it trades at a higher value too. It's not like people pay, $7 a Goldback and then trade them for $3.50. If you buy one for $7, you're trading it for $7 or sometimes more.
Yeah, well, that was the logical. I mean, I came to that conclusion pretty quick in the sense that it's one for one. It's slightly more expensive, but it's inflating at that higher rate anyway. So the trade off is proportionally the same.
Right. And really,
Yes.
I mean, the rule with that material, it's an economic law for everything. I mean, if you own toilet paper, you're not going to get that for the spot price of wood because you got to manufacture the wood into the toilet paper. You know what I mean? It's a process. So you're not going to get your value pound for pound. I mean, if you drive around a vehicle, the vehicle isn't sold for the cost of the material that makes up the vehicle.
Yes.
I mean, heck, even gold. I mean, like you look at jewelry, and if it's fine jewelry, you're not going to be paying you're not going to be paying the melt value of the materials it's made out of. When you add labor to something, it adds value. And it's not any different for the Goldback.
Absolutely. It's a good analogy. Very good analogy and useful for the listeners. So where do you see the traditional financial system heading in the next few years? I feel personally, I do a lot of commentary on this, that we're on the cusp of something quite drastic with the digitization of money and stable coins and all the legislation that's passing through. But then conversely, the gold price is surging to all-time highs. The central bank's accumulation of gold over the last 5 to 10 years has been huge. The 10,000-foot view suggests something is on the precipice. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your breakdown of the aerial view.
Sure. I think if you follow, any alternative news on economics, there's a lot of videos. There's a lot of speculation that, hey, next month or next year or in 6 months, the bottom is really going to fall out and the currency is going to lose 90% of its value or 80 or 70 or whatever. And that's happened in countries. You can see it around the world. You'll have these extreme hyperinflationary events where the currency loses a lot of its value very fast. And, that absolutely could happen. But what's happened to the dollar since 1964? In 1964, minimum wage was $1.25, so 5 silver quarters. Or if you were to measure that in Goldbacks, I want to say it's like 19 Goldbacks or 20 Goldbacks would be minimum wage in 1964. Well, in precious metal, that's like $120 an hour. But I mean, you look back then, it's like houses were what, a couple $1,000? It's like some things were more expensive, some things were cheaper, but the purchasing power that you got from working was enormous. And that whole generation that benefited from that really saw that. They could retire, they could build new houses, they could get new cars, they could save, they could retire young, they could afford school. I mean, just the economic, they could work on one income. Everybody, like you look at a show like The Simpsons, right? The show's not that old, came out 80s or 90s, something like that. And you have Homer Simpson, who's not that smart, and he owns his home. They have a single income. Marge doesn't have to work. They've got 3 kids. They're in a neighborhood full of people that own their homes. And that was considered just very normal.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas now it's like, wow, they really must pay Homer well at the nuclear plant. Like, no, man, he was a dunce. Like you could still get by. So If you measured minimum wage in precious metals in 1990, $35 an hour in today's dollars, $35 an hour. And it's still
Yeah,
seven. And
crazy.
I'm not saying the minimum wage should be $35. There's a lot of reasons that people will tell you why labor's cheaper. They'll blame this group or that group for being in the labor pool or, whatever. But even like the measuring stick, which we measure the income that we're getting, we think that we're constantly raising the minimum wage, but since it's not keeping up with inflation, it's actually going lower all the time. It's like housing costs go up, all the costs go up. We think, man, that's so weird because I make twice as much money as I used to, and I can't afford vacations anymore. So, I mean, the Goldback, since it's come out in 2019, the value's gone from, $2 to now it's like 650, 670. I think that what the Goldback is truly doing is it's measuring real inflation. So if you save with Goldback or you pay with Goldback, you're outside of that system. So you're asking me about how I felt. I'd say, well, whether the bottom falls out of the dollar or not, the trajectory that it's on isn't good. Even if the dollar loses 10, 20% of its value a year, that's not a great thing to have your money in. Like you can make 5% on treasury bonds, but if inflation's 10, then you're only losing 5% a year. What kind of deal is that? You know what I mean? The other thing I would say about kind of current trends, and you mentioned, central bank digital currencies and everything going push to digital. I think there is a huge digital push, and there's a lot of people that are very keen to resist central bank digital currencies. We want to keep cash. We want to keep transactions private sometimes. We don't want to only trust institutions, only third parties, only people that can cut off your access to your money if they don't like you or your politics or whatever. What people sometimes forget a little bit is that cash is another central bank product. It's not a central bank digital currency, it's the central bank physical currency. So, it's like you're boycotting their new product with their old product. So it's like, okay, they can roll it out as slow as they want. You're still using their product. So the people that are using Goldbacks, that are spending them in their communities, that are carrying them in their wallets, that, might have some pocket change in Goldback, it's a real way to declare independence from that system. It's like you're not even using dollars at all. And again, so far, it's done very well. And the value has only gone up and up and up. There's an increasingly growing group of people that take these. And every person you give a Goldback to, whether you're sticking it in their tip jar or doing a barter with a small business owner, you're introducing sound money to somebody new, and you're spreading that awareness into your own community.
I love this piece of the cross-pollination through the community. And I'm very excited to try that out up here because I'm in a sort of rural area, very forward-thinking, kind of politically quite aligned, and it very lots of farmers markets, cash only type vibe. So I think it'd do quite well. Do you reckon
Which province, which part of Australia are you in?
I'm in the
they're
north.
not states, right? They're provinces.
No, they're states. Yeah, they're states.
They're states. Okay, they're states. Canada's provinces.
They're big states. There's not as many. Our land mass is similar to the US, and you've got 51 states.
You got like 7 or 8 of them or something.
Yeah, and one of them's a territory. But we're in a rural area, just like north, very far north, New South Wales, south of Brisbane, like by 3 hours. The closest major city is about an hour and a half away, and Sydney's 8 hours south of us. So it's a small community.
What's the name of your state?
New South Wales.
New South Wales. Okay.
Yeah, New South Wales. Then we're in the northern rivers of New South Wales. Yeah, it's great. It's really good. And I'd love to hear more about on the ground stories that might perhaps pop into your mind of communities that have really taken that leap into using the currency. Like, are there any cool anecdotes that stand out to you of towns or areas that have been using Goldbacks to tremendous success?
You know, yeah. So it's hard to know where and when people spend Goldbacks because the very nature of it is that it's private. So
Yes.
unless you advertise your purchase somehow, unless you let everybody unless you post it on social media, we have no way of knowing whether you're doing it or not. Um, and there was a moment we weren't sure, how many people were circulating these versus just saving them. But we have this really neat tool on goldback.com where you can go to a calculator and you can put in the amount of dollars that you owe somebody and convert that. And I think they do multiple currencies now. And you can convert that into an amount of Goldbacks that you would pay instead. So it's just a little
Mm.
tool on the website. And, I spend Goldbacks all the time. I would say I occasionally use the calculator. Maybe I use the calculator a few times a month. Um, Most transactions you can just do in your head, or they're small, or it's a tip. I'm not going to pull out the calculator for that. If it's $20, you give them 3 Goldbacks. That's easy. So in 2023, we had 60,000 hits on that calculator on Goldback.com.
Wow. Wow.
The
That makes
following
sense.
year in 2024, that number grew from 60,000 to about 120,000.
Awesome. That's a great data point.
So
Mm.
it doesn't mean that there were 120,000 transactions. If other people are behaving like me, there could be millions of Goldback transactions. And by the way, there's a $250 million worth of Goldbacks out there today.
Mm.
So, there's a lot out there. We know they're moving around. Not everybody uses our calculator. There's other calculators. They could use there's other ways they can calculate the transactions. But we know these are happening. But again, I couldn't tell you exactly where or for what, and that's kind of the point. Nobody could do that for
Yes.
cash either. So the program seems to be working as intended, which is, it's really encouraging. I mean, I can tell you I spend Goldbacks all the time. Um, but I know I'm not the only one. There's a guy in Louisiana, he buys $60,000 worth of these things a year, and he spends $60,000 a year worth of Goldbacks just all the time. Just, everyone he sees, and every time the opportunity comes up, he's using these things. And that's just like one customer that was mentioned to me off of one of 500 distributors that we have.
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. That's an awesome answer. And can that be used on the app, the Goldback app as well, just for ease, so the consumers can get the app and translate on there, convert on there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
The app
exactly.
has the calculator. App could be used. I mean, if you own a business, you can sign up your business and we'll show it up on the app. And we're starting to see businesses outside of the US. The app is very new. We're still kind of playing around with it. We got one program right now that is kind of cool. And anyone listening to this, you're going to pay attention to this one. We have a website where we've been giving away a free Goldback to anybody that signs up for our newsletter, basically. So if you sign up, you can get and give us your address so we can send it to you. We'll ship you a free, I guess it's a half Goldback. I don't send you a full Goldback anymore. We'll send you our new half Goldback. That's this guy right here. It's about $3.50 worth of gold.
Yeah, it's an awesome incentive. I've sent a few people to that link before. It's great. It's very good. And on that point, actually, what sort of traction or resistance have you seen? I know you've got lots of partners and businesses sign up, but more like on the institutional level and the governmental level. What's the narrative been around this journey for you from a traction and resistance standpoint?
What's funny is a lot of lawmakers absolutely love the Goldback. Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter. I mean, you show people a Goldback with the name of their state on it and their state history there, and people get proud. They love these things. I think there's a lot of natural attraction. So that's politicians. you occasionally find bureaucrats and they'll get into the weeds on something, and they'll try to tax you for something they shouldn't. Um, you see competing companies. What's so funny is I thought that like we'd get a lot of pushback from maybe central banks and big banks would be really upset with Goldback for doing something like this. And initially, not as much today, but initially our biggest pushback, do you know who it was from?
Tell me.
Precious metals dealers that weren't selling Goldbacks yet.
Wow. That tells you
Well,
something.
I mean, like you imagine, I mean, you're selling precious metals, and I don't say this to throw anybody under the bus, and you should be skeptical of a new product. I mean, if it's new, it's a hyperfractional gold. There's not a lot of similar products. I can see, why people might be skeptical or concerned or have extra criticism. But I think a big part of it is they just felt like they might be losing businesses to the new thing they didn't understand. Um, and a lot of what we've been doing is just education with these dealers. And now, like I said, we've got maybe 500 precious metals dealers. We're chasing around the rest of them, and they're just tired of their customers calling in all the time asking for Goldbacks. So they eventually call us and say, "Hey, after the 100th request for the Goldback, like, could we maybe sell these? Can you show us?" Because they can see that the demand is there and that it's not going away. And really, we put this out here. A lot of businesses are kind of direct to consumer. You'd have to go to goldback.com to buy a Goldback. We're we're a wholesaler. Um, buying a Goldback from your local dealer supports your local dealer. So we've got, hundreds of local coin stores that sell Goldbacks.
Mm, mm, awesome. And in terms of expansion, we've seen a new couple of states even since I've been collaborating with you guys. What are some of the notable product expansions and new states that might be on the horizon that you're allowed to talk about? New tech, or even projects that are in the pipeline for Goldbacks?
We've got a couple states that we announced. We've got Oklahoma and then Arizona coming out. We're trying really hard to get them out this year. And the artwork's phenomenal. Um, we've got an incredible artist and series planner and a team that just puts these things together, working with people in the state and just really incorporating some rich state history. Um, we're doing a limited early release for each state now. And the hope is to eventually have one for all 50 states. And I think that's going to become available for Oklahoma. It could be the beginning of July or mid-June. So we're going to see another Goldback becoming available soon. This is going to be the most rare one. There's only 4,000 of them. So that's coming out um, pretty soon here. We've got another announcement in June, but I don't think it's officially announced yet. So yeah, we've got quite a few projects. I think we could end up doing 4 or 5 projects in 2026. So
Yeah.
it's we're getting faster. It used to be one project a year, 6 states, 6 years. This year we're doing 3. Next year we'll probably do 3 or more. So we're speeding up.
How good's that? Awesome. And what's the big box, the big Goldback box that I saw about a couple of weeks back? That new product. Are you allowed to speak much about
Uh,
that?
Not yet, not yet. I think we're launching that one sometime next month. So you'll get to
Right.
see a little bit more about that.
Well, stay
But it's
tuned,
going to be a
everyone.
way. It's going to be a way that people can get more like a bundle deal on Goldback.
Cool. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. And I guess two little quirky questions. First one would be, what has been your favorite part of this journey so far?
I got to work with a lot of really cool people, and funny you say that. My wife, she did a lot of the series planning for the Florida series. So you'll see that we made a pretty major change in how we did artwork from before the state of Florida and then Florida onwards. She was really big in that. So, she's working 60 hours a week right next to me in my house. So being able to do this with my wife is a lot of fun. I really love the team that I got to work with. We've got, I want to say, around 20 different employees in Goldback now. Being able to travel and just connect with people has been absolutely huge. And, it's just smiles all around. People are having a good time. They know and they feel that they're making a difference. Um, we've had hundreds of people reach out just asking how they can get involved, how they can help. What can they do to make this happen in their communities? So, being at the center of that is just really kind of a cool place to be.
Awesome. Lovely. Lovely sentiment. And if you could tell people one thing about the future of money, what would it be?
The future of money is ultimately going to be dictated by the free market. So if you see if you see alternatives or you see things that you like out there, if you support those things and try those things, you're voting with your capital what you want the future of money to be, whether it's central bank digital currencies or Goldback or crypto or some combo or whatever. So it's, the ability to do that is entirely, the future is entirely in our hands in terms of what we want it to be.
It's a good way to end. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for your time. It's been a pleasure. We've got some great insights in there for all the listeners into the product and also the utility and the history behind a wonderful company that I'm proud to be working with. So thank you very much, Jeremy.
No, thank you. Take care.
Cheers.